G'day from Estonia. So, getting ready to do the underfloor heating in my basement. It's going to be a workshop and I'm going to be doing a lot of standing around in the middle of this room. And well, it's minus 18 outside. I'm lying actually because I'll never be here when it's minus 18, but in theory it could be. So I was looking at how to get the maximum heat output on the periphery of the room. And I'll keep in my Tootsie's cold or cooler in the middle. And I've seen it done before where the pipework's done at closer centres on the outside. But I thought, well, really I want all my flows on the outside and all returns can be on the inside. So I might get a slight gradual fade off in temperature on the floor. But that would be acceptable to get the heat loss near to the heat input nearer to the point of heat loss. So I was just looking at this, thinking how I'm going to do this, because you can't really cross over the flows and returns. And it occurred to me that I'm not restricted because I'm not using a standard manifold with a mixing valve on it and a pump. And I'm actually doing that in the boiler room up here somewhere. I've only got a flow and return pipe, so I can actually put a flow manifold and a return manifold in the room. They don't have to be in these positions. It's just that I'm very unlikely to want to put anything around a doorway, and the manifolds are quite slim, so they're not going to stop me going in and out the doorway or cause me any other problems. So I went for it, and here I've done 150mm centres here, and the only reason I've done 150mm centres here is it happens to work out quite nicely with my return manifold without having too many pipes to try and get around here. And some of this wall is actually internal wall, whereas some of it's external wall. Along the front here I've gone to 100mm centres, and in order to get around this obstacle here I've gone to 200 centres on some of the pipes and 100mm centres on the others, just to give me enough room to go around the obstacle. Coming around at 150 against the other. This actually is underground, but it's in the centre of the house underground. Then I'll come around the middle. So all this section at the end here is the return section, if you like, in the middle of the room. Now, delta T7 would be what we'd use in the UK, which would make a reasonable difference, I think, between the heat output on the periphery and in the centre. But here, to get the heat output of the floor, the other part of the house has been designed by a local engineer who's designed at delta T3, and I've got no idea what delta T I'm going to run at yet. So we'll wait and see. But if it is run at delta T3, really I'm not going to see much difference between the periphery and the internal side. As you can see, when I'm doing the layout, there's a little bit of space left over, so I've kind of shared the leftover space on a slightly wider centres where those two returns come round each other. And they're the only two actually sort of tight bends in the whole job, and they're nearly 200mm centres, I think, on there. And I think maybe slightly over 200mm centres at the point there's any kind of bending pipe. So you can see here there's no problem with close spacing with this design. Almost no bending of the pipes. It's all sort of pretty close to 90-degree bends rather than the usual zigzagging back around. Anyway, comments welcome. The other thing I was thinking about on this job is that the manifolds, they can be separate, but they could also be vertical. There's nothing saying you've got to put these horizontal, is there? So why not have them vertical? It could be that it would suit the pipework better. Actually, on these ones, it could suit the pipework better. I can bring the pipes under the floor, bring them straight up into the manifold, stick an air vent on the top, and not have to go around a corner, so save a bit of space that way. So anyway, comments welcome. If anyone can see a flaw in what I've done or give me any other tips, I've still got the rest of the house to design yet. This is the first time I've actually done really a proper underfloor heating design myself, and hats off to those that do it. It's actually a lot harder than it looks to fit everything in and space it all out and work your way around.